I'm Doug Atkinson here at Solutions Review, and welcome to the Inside Jam Demo Slam. This year we were looking for a way to provide as much information as possible on the technologies in this space and asked the top solutions to send us a short recorded demonstration of their technology. Just as the name implies, the Demo Slam is intended to deliver lots of information quickly. So sit back and enjoy the show.
Welcome to the Accelario Continuous Data Platform demo. Accelario's Continuous Data Ops platform provides data customers access to the data they need, where they need it, and when they need it, while staying in compliance with privacy regulations. Accelario's platform does this by providing different teams access to a self-service portal from which they can provision the data sets they need into their lower environments. Data can be quickly provisioned into virtual databases which don't require additional storage or can be physically cloned. The portal is accessed through a web browser or the Accelario REST API. The API allows DevOps and DataOps teams the ability to integrate the Accelario platform into their automation tools used to facilitate continuous integration and continuous delivery of applications. The data being accessed is already compliant with privacy regulations since it was anonymized ahead of time according to regulatory guidelines. This is done through the platform's sophisticated discovery of sensitive data and the application of data masking algorithms. In this demo, we will be using an environment with the CRM application that has been created for the purpose of this demonstration. This is an application that is under ongoing development where users need access to production data inside their test and development environments. Accelario's platform is connected to the production database and has created a compliant copy of its data, which is referred to as the golden copy. In the first part of this demo, we will show how a development team that needs production data can access it through a self-service portal and provide a virtual database inside their development server. This is the CRM test application that contains compliant data. This will be the data source for our development teams, which they will use to create virtual databases. This is an empty database server. It has the Oracle software installed, but the tables are empty. All that we have to do to access data is to point a virtual database to my development server, and in 2 minutes we'll have a fully compliant database with production-like data in it. This is accomplished by going to the Virtual Database Manager interface and launching a virtual database from the Golden Copy snapshot. To create a new virtual database, select the Golden Copy and click the Create Virtual Database icon. Fill in the VDB name, optional description, check Start Immediately, select the destination Oracle Home from the drop-down list, and fill in the Oracle SID. Configure the snapshot policy section if you want the ability to roll back to a previous point in time in this VDB's existence once created. Finally, click Create. Accelario is now starting an Oracle database presented as an NFS mount to your development server. In just a few minutes, we created a fully data privacy compliant copy of a production database, created a virtual database, and populated an empty development server with up-to-date production data. We did all this without requiring a database administrator or operations staff to create a database or provision storage. The data in this virtual database can be used in queries that read, write, modify, or delete records. Virtual databases can be used just like a full physical duplicate. However, virtual databases take up a fraction of the storage that you would otherwise need. Now let's take a look at snapshot navigation. We have 3 virtual databases running from the Golden Copy in addition to the one we just created. We can see that one of these is configured to take snapshots at 10-minute intervals. The snapshot can be navigated to from the cards or the timeline on the right. Having the ability to go back in time can help with isolating bugs or regression issues because you can branch off a virtual database at a specific point in time in the past and have your testing team work on the issue independent of the development team. In this section, we will look at Accelario's continuous sync feature. The Accelario Continuous Data Ops platform can keep the golden copy synchronized with the production source when the continuous sync process is enabled. Again, we're using CRM Prod as the source application and the golden copy as CRM test in our demo environment. The top window is of CRM Prod and is the source. The lower window is CRM Test, which is being synchronized through the Accelario Continuous Data Platform. CRM Test is also being masked by the platform. Notice that the Social Security number and family name fields are fully masked and that the credit card, phone number, and email fields are partially masked. For example, the credit card numbers have the first 7 digits in the clear, and the rest are masked. The first 4 digits in the phone number and the email domain ending .io, .com, and .org are not masked. We'll now add a record to the CRM Prod and then see the new record appear in CRM Test. Notice that we have a new record in CRM Test for Al Bundy and that they have a masked Social Security number, family name, credit card, phone, and email address. The continuous synchronization process took the new record from the CRM Prod, applied the masking rules, and added it to the golden image of CRM Test. We can also change existing records in the CRM Prod application and witness the change in the CRM Test app. I'll modify Ashley's family name to Brennan in Prod. Refresh the test window, and we should see that the family name has changed to something else in the test app. As we see here, Ashley's masked family name is now Buzzo in the CRM Test application. The same will occur if I modify any record in the CRM Prod application. The change will be applied to the CRM Test application once it is made through the Accelario continuous synchronization process. Let's look at how Accelario's sensitive data search and masking functions are managed. To ensure that data is compliant with privacy regulations, Accelario applies sophisticated masking algorithms. One challenge when trying to mask data is finding out which data is sensitive and needs to be anonymized. We will be looking at the sensitive data search functions within the platform, the masking rules, and the masking policies. This is the masking policy editor. The masking policies contain search and masking rules that the Accelario sensitive data search module uses. In this screen we can see 6 policies, a default one that's a catch-all, and 5 based on specific regulatory compliance guidelines such as HIPAA, CCPA, GDPR, PCI, and MDPL policies. Clicking on a masking policy exposes the Modify Masking Policy dialog. From here you can add or remove masking rules to modify the policy as needed. New policies are created in the same manner. Rules must be created before they can be used in a policy if they do not already exist. Let's take a look at the search rules that go into the masking policies. You may create your own search rules in addition to the built-in rules that come with the platform. You would need to do this to customize the sensitive data search to meet your particular data privacy regulations in your location. Here we have created a height, weight, Swift banking ID, and a few other search rules. To create a search rule, click Add Search Rules. Give the rule a name, optionally add a description, and select the search type from the drop-down list. You can select from regular expression search pattern, a lookup table, or a column name. I will use a regular expression and enter one for IPv6. Once the rule is created, it's available to be used in a masking policy. Now we can search for sensitive data using the rules and policies we created or modified. Clicking the search button brings up the Search Sensitive Data dialog. Select the search policy, take the defaults, and leave incremental checked or unchecked to run a full scan, followed by the search. Notice that we're showing a summary of the search results by field and number of tables we found sensitive data in. Click the Details button. This gives us a detailed breakdown by table, column, sensitive data, search rules, and probability that the column needs to be masked. The checkbox in the leftmost column is automatically checked if the probability of the column being sensitive is 10% or greater. It is a good practice to investigate columns with low probability values for sensitivity so that you can ensure you remain within compliance with your location's privacy regulations. The sensitive data search has identified the email address as being sensitive data. Clicking on this row exposes the column details and the proposed masking method to be applied. We can see which fields have masking methods assigned to them and the method details in the masking editor. Clicking the folder icon in the masking rule column for the email column name exposes the masking method or rule being used in addition to all the other rules that are available. During this demonstration, we showed you how Accelario's continuous data ops platform can create a synchronized and compliant copy of production data for use by data consumers. We've shown you how the platform does this using continuous data synchronization between the source and golden copy, the ability to find sensitive data and masking it, and the ability to provide virtual database copies to data consumers that take up little to no storage capacity to run. We hope you found this demonstration informative. Please contact your local Accelario representative to schedule a more detailed conversation about how the Accelario Continuous Data Platform can be deployed to address your data delivery needs.
Hello, welcome to the demonstration of Carbonite Backup for Microsoft 365. In this video, we'll show you how to set up our backup solution for Microsoft's Cloud Productivity Suite, and we'll highlight a few features. Let's get started. Carbonite Backup for Microsoft 365 is a cloud-to-cloud backup solution for customers and managed service providers. It protects data in Microsoft's suite of cloud applications. Since this is a cloud-to-cloud solution, there's no on-premises infrastructure required, and it has no dependencies beyond access to the Microsoft 365 environment. Here you can see the Partner Portal, which is where managed service providers administer the solution for their customers. From the portal, you can easily onboard, manage, and report on users in the Microsoft 365 Backup tool. To get started, initiate the onboarding process using the Invite New Customer option. Then, choose where the data will be stored from a list of data centers. You can also configure retention settings with options for 1 or 7 years. Once the user or customer is onboarded, you can use the portal to generate reports on whether backups are successful, as well as the amount of data being consumed. You can also configure role-based access to determine administrator privileges. End users and administrators will authenticate into the management portal using their Microsoft 365 credentials, or using explicit local credentials based on your preferred security policy. For managed service providers, there's a customer directory pane where you can access your customers' accounts. Here, you can see what customers and MSPs administering for their customers will see when logging into the solution. You also have the ability to authorize application profiles for access to the Microsoft 365 environment, create service accounts, authorize access to your Microsoft 365 environment, manage individual users with access to the customer tenancy, and choose your own encryption policy. Carbonite Backup for Microsoft 365 supports the use of Azure Key Vault to select the encryption keys you wish to use. We recommend the use of application profiles because it precludes the need for Carbonite to retain usernames and passwords in order to access customer accounts. Once the application profile has been authorized and your service's account created, you can choose the content you wish to back up using the Scan Profiles feature, as shown here. Scan Profile is a rule set associated with the container that you use to select parts of your environment, or as part of a security model that ensures different sets of data are not accessible to the same set of operators. For example, if you wish to only back up content belonging to individuals with the particular Microsoft 365 subscription level, you can easily do so by setting the scan profile rules as you see here. You can configure rules based on a wide range of attributes, and the rules themselves are stackable if you wish to have more complex rule sets. You can also create containers based on the rule sets. This allows you to separate data in order to ensure that access to individual containers is limited to the backup operator or other personnel who should have access to it. For example, you can separate executive data into its own container and grant access only to the executive help desk. You also have the ability to generate a report showing the actions administrators have taken, the number of licenses being consumed, and other job report status information. Once you have selected the data you wish to back up, either as an MSP representing your customer or as a customer yourself, you can then access the Backup and Recovery portal. This allows you to precisely define the content you wish to back up, the backup schedule, and administrator privileges for the containers you create. For example, with Exchange Online, you can change the frequency of backups up to 4 times per day and set the time you wish jobs to start, as well as edit the backup scope. If you have multiple containers available, you can select which containers you wish to back up. Of course, the power of any backup tool is based on its ability to restore. We're happy to report that one of the most powerful features you'll find in Carbonite Backup from Microsoft 365 is its ability to restore. You can recover content into the original mailbox or restore it to another one. You can also export content in PST format and recover individual content items in their native formats. For example, if you wish to recover an entire inbox, select the inbox, then select Restore. You can also export the inbox into an e-discovery tool or as part of a standard end-user offboarding process. When you click Export, you'll have the option to restore data to another location. When restoring to another location, you can select another user's mailbox to recover to. This makes it easy to recreate a mailbox from scratch after it's been accidentally deleted. In Azure Active Directory, just take the old mailbox content and restore it to the new mailbox. You can also choose how you want to handle container level and content level conflict. If there are multiple folders containing the term inbox, you can simply merge them. Upon clicking Restore, an event will be generated and the restore will be completed. In SharePoint Online, you can export a SharePoint site, site collection, document, or document library, and easily restore any of them. For restores, you can restore to another location, which can be another SharePoint or OneDrive folder. You can also archive a previously generated SharePoint site in OneDrive. You also have the ability to restore just the security settings in the event that permissions become corrupted, the site has been inaccessible, or it's been altered in a way that falls outside the security policy. This is a unique feature of Carbonite Backup for Microsoft 365. The solution also gives you the flexibility to restore current or previous versions and choose whether or not to restore external access for documents that were previously shared. When you're done, you can generate an event and the restore will be completed. For all actions undertaken in the Backup and Recovery console, a rich set of reporting is available. Reports include job monitors, which show jobs in progress and jobs completed. There's also an auditor tool that logs all actions undertaken within the environment. That concludes our video demonstration of Carbonite Backup for Microsoft 365. For more information, visit carbonite.com.
Hey, my name is Chris Bain, and I'm the Chief Solutions Architect here at Infrascale. And today I want to talk to you about Infrascale's IBDR solution. So you might ask yourself, what is IBDR? So that's Infrascale Backup and Disaster Recovery. So not only do we have a solution that allows you to back up and recover your servers, but we also offer DR. So not only local disaster recovery, but disaster recovery in the Infrascale cloud. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. What does this look like? So right here we can see this is our solution that we offer. This is the interface for our IBDR solution. We can see how many recent jobs we've had, how many were successful, if we had any fail, how many jobs are being stored on this appliance. Now, when we talk about backups, what are we talking about? We're talking about the ability to back up and recover your servers that are in your environment. Now, a lot of people are running virtual servers. So as you can see right here, if we go under clients, we can see under VMware, here's all my virtual servers that I have running in VMware. Now I don't have to install an agent on any of these. I can back them all up agent free and back them up to my appliance, boot them on my appliance, and boot them in the cloud. Not only can we do that for VMware, but we can also do it for Hyper-V. So Hyper-V here, we can register any Hyper-V servers. It's going to show us all the virtual machines that it has and allow us to back up and recover those also. Now when we talk about doing backup and disaster recovery, what are we looking at here? So we have a bunch of different options. So if I come in here and I say that I want to recover the most important server ever, I can come in and say I want to do a browse and restore. So that's going to show me all the backup points in time that I have for that particular server. I can pick from any of those. I can back up the files that make up that server. I can restore the files that that server contains, so a granular file level restore. Or I can even go in and do application level data restore. So if I want to recover something like a mailbox from Exchange or a database from SQL, I can go in and do that also. So let's go ahead and say we want to do contain files. This is what path we want to restore. So do I want to restore directly to the path that I'm telling it to recover to, or go ahead and build that whole folder structure back out? Now next, it's going to go ahead and mount up those VMs and allow me to recover data from that particular server. So here we can go into the most important server ever. We can look at its C drive, and we can see all the files that are out there. Now let's say we wanted to recover this particular file. Well, I could pick it, and then up here I could choose to push it back to that server or any other server that I have out there. I could say I want to push it to a network share. So right here we can see the network share that we're going to push it to, which would be the appliance itself. Or I could just click on it, and it's going to download it via the web browser and put it on my machine, and I could just email it back to that particular user. So we have a bunch of ways to get back individual files. But let's look at something more interesting. What if I need to recover this back to my VMware environment? Then I would pick Restore. Now Restore is going to give me the same options, any point in time I want to recover to. Now what do I want to do? Do I want to replace the existing VM? Or do I want to create a new virtual machine? So here, because this machine is up and running, I'll say create a new one. I can pick my ESX host, what data store I want to push it to. So maybe I want to push it to the big RAID drive. What resource pool I want to push it to. So here you can actually go in and pick the individual volumes that you want to recover and where you want to push them. So maybe you're booting from the SSD and then you have your data stored on spinning drives. You can go ahead and set that up. What do we want to call it when we recover it back into the VMware environment? So by default, it's going to be the most important server _ restored. We'll go ahead and leave that. And then last but not least, when we do this recovery, do we want to give it power after we recover it? Do we want to give it networking? So for this, we're going to say we want to give it power, but we don't want to give it networking. Because again, that machine's up and running, so we get an IP conflict and it just wouldn't be good in this environment. So we can go ahead and do this. Now when I hit finish, it's going to go out to VMware and it's going to recover this machine and restore it for me. Now, what about if we had an emergency where we need to get this machine up and running as quick as possible? Well, in that particular case, we come over here to the boot tab and say, all right, most important server ever. We have 11 recovery points. We're going to tell it we want it to boot up. We're going to pick the most recent recovery point. And then here we're going to say, all right, let's give it some more RAM. We'll give it 8 gigs of RAM. 2 CPUs is okay. No network is okay because, again, it's actually up and running in this environment. So we don't want it to run into the actual server. And then we'll say boot. Now when we hit the active tab here, we're going to see the most important server ever is now booting up or coming alive on top of our appliance. Now what's great about that is now we actually have an environment where we can bring things up, we can test things, we can make config changes, we can do restores, and it keeps us outside of our production environment. So even if we had a 10 gig network and we wanted to recover back into our environment, if we have a terabyte server or a 2 terabyte server, it's going to take a little while to push that data back. With this, it allows us to bring that machine up, as you can see, almost instantly. So right here, we'll go ahead and get our password for our VM. So even though we didn't give it a network connection, it still creates this VNC address for us to be able to connect to. So here we can see, we can connect to that. We'll put our password in, and here we can see that that machine's coming up and coming online almost instantaneously. So this is the fastest way to get things back up and recovered. If you have a local DR failure, maybe you install a patch or you make a config change and something doesn't go right, this gives you a very easy way to get back into that machine and get things back up and running, again, almost instantaneously. Now let's go ahead and look at what happens if our local site has an issue and we have to go up to the cloud. So here we can see this machine's up and running. I did not edit this in any way. That is how long it took to come online. But let's look at, again, what if our local site was down and we needed to recover our entire site? So for that, we're going to come in here to the Infrascale dashboard. And here we can see our different servers that we're looking at, our different appliances. So this is the one we were just looking at. Now all I would say is I want to manage that cloud appliance. So with that cloud appliance, we can see it looks almost identical to that on-prem appliance. So that gives us all the abilities we have locally to be able to bring things up and get them up and booting. But now we're doing it on the cloud side. So when we look at booting, we have the overview where you can see all those servers. So here's our most important server and all our backup images. We can see anything that's up and running. But we have a new tab. We have our orchestration tab. And what does our orchestration tab do for us? Well, that lets us go ahead and boot things up inside the cloud, but we can configure what order we want to boot them in, what their priorities are, how long to wait between booting. So if we look here, we can see we're bringing up our AD server, then we're waiting, we're bringing up our SQL server, we're waiting, we're bringing up our web server or our Linux box, then we're waiting, and then we're bringing up our Windows server. So we can come in here and we can predefine this boot orchestration. We can also come in and click on our LAN and predefine that networking environment we want in the cloud. Now, quickly, I'll jump to this. If we boot up in the Infrascale cloud, how do you access that? How do your endpoints get to that data? Well, it's very easy. So we have a bunch of different options. We can do software VPN with like an IPsec VPN. We can do site-to-site. We can do public IP addresses. So we have a bunch of ways for you to be able to get to that and access that data. And now, we don't charge you to come in here and test this. So say we wanted to boot up these machines. We just hit run here in that play, and that's going to go ahead and fire all these machines up and boot them up in the Infrascale cloud. And then you're ready to rock and roll. You have access to all those machines. Now, an important part is, what if I do have to run in the cloud and I need to come back on-prem? Well, it's a 3-step process to go back from the cloud to back on-prem. So all we have to do is shut down the cloud machine that's running, do a quick backup, push that backup back to on-prem, and then we're ready to boot up and get things running. And in my environment, typically it takes about 3 to 5 minutes to be able to back that machine up and push it back on-prem and get it back up and running. So it's very quick to go from running in the cloud to back to running on-prem. Now this was just a very high level, quick overview of Infrascale's backup and disaster recovery platform. If you're interested and you want to learn more, you can go to infrascale.com and learn more there.
Hi. Among several other use cases, Scality Ring is perfectly suited to store backup data. Here's why. The first part of this video shows how the Ring helps with the challenges a backup admin has to deal with. And the second chapter describes how the Ring interfaces with a backup solution from Veeam. Let's start with the first challenge, scalability. That means being able to store large amounts of backup data with a minimal data center footprint, low electricity consumption, and a low TCO. Here we see the Scality Supervisor, which is the web interface to configure and monitor the Ring. On the bottom left is the hardware layer. Each storage server is composed of high-capacity drives and 1 or 2 SSDs to store metadata. Because Scality is 100% hardware agnostic, you can mix and match several hard disk sizes and server models. So when your hardware vendor will release new server models with higher density, better performance and lower cost per gigabyte, you will be able to integrate them into your existing ring, hence lowering the overall TCO. The second challenge is data durability. Usually, private cloud storage is used for long-term backup storage. In addition, new regulations like GDPR may require that some backups are kept even longer. Hardware failure may occur, hence the need for advanced data protection. We can see in the Scality supervisor that objects are protected with erasure coding. This is an advanced method which allows fast object reconstructions and very high durability. When distributing the ring across several sites, we reach 14.9's durability, which means if you have 10 million objects managed by the ring, there is a probability to lose one object every 10 million years. So long-term backups on the ring are safe. The third challenge is compatibility with S3. More and more software vendors add S3 object interfaces to their solutions. S3 is a fast-moving standard. Over the last 10 years, AWS has released more than 60 updates of the S3 API, hence the need for software providers like us to match the respective status constantly. Otherwise, deployments become incompatible, at least partly. Now, if we look at the S3 service in the Scality supervisor, we see several layers. The first layer is authentication, which is compatible with Amazon IAM standard. It enables the creation of accounts, users, and the policies to build a multi-tenant solution. The front-end layer is the part of our solution where compatibility matters most. By continuously matching new AWS S3 releases, we enable plug and play for our application partners. The metadata layer indexes objects to perform fast bucket listing, even when storing millions of objects inside a single bucket. The connector layer is the IP or URL of the endpoint, which is set inside the backup application described in part 2 of this video. The last layer is the utilization API, which generates real-time reports on system usage to enable billing, among others. The fourth challenge for the backup admin is performance. To complete backups within the backup window and to perform fast restore operations, performance is essential. In the Scality supervisor, rebalance operations will be displayed in the task list, if and when they occur. Because the ring constantly rebalances data, each new server or disk will increase the overall performance. That's the reason why backup is an excellent use case for the ring. Now, in part 2 of this video, we will show you how the ring interfaces with a backup solution from Veeam. Let's start with a workflow overview. We see the backup administrator logging into the Veeam server. He's backing up a client workstation to a performance tier stored locally, and, thanks to a new feature in Veeam 10, the same data is sent simultaneously to the capacity tier stored on the ring via S3. Let's see how easy it is to configure Veeam with Scality Ring. First, we log into the Scality S3 console to create an S3 user account for Veeam. We can see the Veeam user for whom we generated an access and a secret key. Then, we create a Veeam bucket stored on Scality Ring with S3 object lock enabled. The following AWS command shows that S3 object lock is activated on the Veeam bucket in order to use the latest Veeam 10 backup immutability feature to protect backups from modification or deletion. The backup admin then logs into Veeam 10 backup in replication and adds the ring as capacity tier under backup repository. After choosing object storage, he enters the Scality connector IP, the credentials generated in the Scality console, and the bucket we created using the Scality S3 browser. Thanks to Scality supporting S3 object lock, we can now select Veeam 10 backup immutability to protect backups from ransomware, malicious insiders and hackers. That's it. We configured the capacity tier in a few clicks. The backup admin then defines the scale-out backup repository, using local storage for the performance tier and the ring for the capacity tier. Thanks to Veeam 10 latest feature, in addition to the automatic movement of old backups from the performance to the capacity tier, we can now send a copy of the backups to the ring immediately for added redundancy. Everything is now ready to perform backup and restore operations. Because we selected the 30 days immutability option, data written by Veeam to ring cannot be modified or deleted within that timeframe. The following AWS command demonstrates that Veeam stored backup data on the ring with an S3 object lock policy. When accessing the Veeam bucket on the ring using an S3 client, we can see that indeed versions of objects cannot be deleted because of the immutability option we configured. We can see that short-term backups are stored on local disks, and short and long-term backups are located on the object storage. Let's do a restore operation by first removing some files from the client. Before we run the restore operation, let's simulate hardware failure by changing the letter of the drive storing the performance tier. With Veeam 10, short-term data is simultaneously copied to the ring for redundancy. So a copy of the backup, even short-term, is available on the ring. We see a warning indicating that since the copy is not available anymore in the performance tier, it will be restored from the capacity tier. While the restore job is running, we can monitor system usage of the backup user in the Scality S3 console, thanks to Scality Utilization API. We now see that our job completed successfully. The files are restored on the client server. That concludes this video. We have shown that with Scality Ring, a backup admin can overcome the most pressing challenges: scalability, durability, compatibility with S3 and performance. We will address other use cases for the ring, like content repository, media workflow and data lake among others, in future demo videos. Thank you.
Welcome to another FreeNAS and TrueNAS video tutorial. Be sure to click the notifications button so you can stay up to date with all of our open source and TrueNAS videos. In this tutorial, we'll show you how to set up Cloud Sync and object storage on your TrueNAS system. This tutorial assumes you have a dataset created, which we'll be using to synchronize data to the cloud. Check out our other video, Datasets, Snapshots, and SMB shares if you haven't already. TrueNAS allows you to store copies of your data in several cloud providers, such as Amazon S3, Backblaze B2, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud Platform. Integration with the cloud can keep your data safe from local disasters through the TrueNAS Cloud Sync feature. The replication process can be done with the push and pull synchronization of data between a TrueNAS storage system and a compatible storage cloud. TrueNAS encrypts in-flight data to protect your information during the transfer. We'll go ahead and configure Cloud Sync to connect with a cloud bucket. The Cloud Sync feature available on TrueNAS allows you to schedule regular backups from TrueNAS to your cloud. Setup of a cloud, go to System, Cloud Credentials, then Add. Give this cloud credential setting a name. Choose the cloud provider from the drop-down list. In this example, we are using Backblaze B2. To proceed to the next step, we need an application key ID and master application key for the Backblaze B2 account we're using. Let's head to backblaze.com and create our free account. Once you've set that up, go to My Account on the top right, then App Keys under B2 Cloud Storage. You will see your key ID there. Now, click Generate New Master Application Key. It will alert you that the old key will be replaced. Click Yes to proceed. Now, copy the key ID into the application key ID field back on your TrueNAS system, and the application key into the master application key field. Click Verify Credential to verify that the Backblaze keys work on your TrueNAS system. Click Submit when you're done. You should see your new cloud credential for Backblaze B2 listed here. The next step is to create a bucket. Head back to your Backblaze B2 web panel. Under B2 Cloud Storage, go to Buckets. Go ahead and create a bucket and give it a unique name. You should see your new bucket in the B2 Cloud Storage Buckets page. Now, back on your TrueNAS system, our next step is to create a Cloud Sync task which schedules push and pull data synchronization between your TrueNAS system and the Cloud Service bucket. Go to Tasks on the left side menu, Cloud Sync Tasks, and then click Add. Give your Cloud Sync task a description. For a direction, Push will sync files from your dataset onto the cloud. Pull will sync files from your cloud to your dataset. Let's choose Push to sync our files that are in the TrueNAS dataset into the Backblaze cloud. Choose the cloud credential you created earlier from the drop-down list. Now, choose the bucket you created earlier from the drop-down list. In the second folder icon, choose the path to your TrueNAS dataset where you'll be syncing files from. For transfer mode, make sure you understand what sync, copy, and move does with regards to your push or pull direction. Sync will change files on the destination to match the source, and delete it if it doesn't exist in the source. Copy will copy files on the destination from the source and overwrite any with the same name. Move will copy the files to the destination, then delete it from the source, and overwrite any with the same name. I'll choose Sync since I want my files on the Backblaze cloud to be exactly the same as what's on my TrueNAS dataset. Next, you'll want to set a schedule that allows a sync task to occur regularly. Choose from the presets or choose custom to set your own. In this example, I will set it daily. Next, click Submit when you're done configuring the Cloud Sync tasks. You will see your new Cloud Sync task here. The status will let you know if the task has been run. Make sure you have files in your TrueNAS dataset so you can see if the sync tasks work properly. Click the arrow on the right side and click Run Now if you want to synchronize your files from the TrueNAS dataset to the cloud right this moment. If your sync worked, it will say Success under Status. Let's go back to the Backblaze B2 web panel. Go to Browse Files. Under B2 Cloud Storage, then choose the bucket you used for the sync. You should see your files from your TrueNAS dataset uploaded to this cloud. An example use case is TrueNAS A replicating TrueNAS B, which also syncs to the Amazon S3 cloud. TrueNAS A can restore from the cloud without having to go through TrueNAS B. Using the Cloud Sync feature, you can back up your data on your TrueNAS to the cloud. Thanks for watching this tutorial video. Visit ixsystems.com to learn more about TrueNAS and IX Systems. Be sure to check out our other tutorial videos on our YouTube channel. And don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and click the bell to receive alerts on new videos. Whether you need software-defined storage, enterprise-grade support with high availability, or scale-out multi-node management, TrueNAS has a complete storage solution that fits virtually any application and budget. Visit TrueNAS.com to see why millions of individuals and businesses depend on TrueNAS to keep their data safe and secure.
Hi, my name is Keith Armstrong, and I work on the VPC Plus front-end engineering team. Today, I'll be showing you our account creation and setup workflow. Simply provide your full name, your email address, as well as the secure password you'd like to use. Next, agree to the terms and conditions and the privacy policy, and click Register. A verification link will be sent to the email you provided to complete your account setup. In the email you receive, click the Verify Your Registration button to verify your email. After your email has been verified, you can log into VPC Plus to begin the setup workflow. When you log in for the first time, you will be greeted with our landing page giving a brief overview of the features and support options that VPC Plus offers. On the next page, you'll be able to add a payment method. This step is optional, however, and can always be completed from your settings page at a later time. And with that, you have successfully set up your account and can start exploring what VPC Plus has to offer. Here is the summary page where you can see all of the cloud accounts you have added. If you would like to add a new account, simply click Cloud Accounts on the side menu, choose the cloud type you'd like to add, and provide the appropriate credentials. As mentioned earlier, you can add your payment information by going to your settings and clicking Add Payment under the payment options. And that's it for this demo. If you have any questions or would like to learn more about Wanclouds, visit our website at wanclouds.net. Thank you.
Overview of our VPC plus multi-cloud migrations and disaster recovery application demo. Just to do a quick walkthrough, once you have registered and successfully logged in, you can go ahead and look at the various tabs here. One of the things you would see is you will basically land on a page where it will basically ask you to add your cloud accounts. Here you can basically add one or multiple cloud accounts depending on the service that you have subscribed to. For example, in the case of AWS, these are the various you can click on. I've already added an account and I'll go explain this in a bit. You can add the relevant credentials, and for cost management you can activate this tab, which will allow us to basically track the spending, and you can see it on the dashboard. So once the accounts are added like so, then we will go ahead and discover all of the infrastructure that you have associated with the accounts that you have added, right? The VPCs, in the regions, and just a quick snapshot of the resources here and the spend, right? This we have it available for AWS only today. We're going to have it available for all the clouds. Once you have this, there are a few tabs that I will quickly explain. If you want to create a new infrastructure, we have preloaded some templates. In the case of AWS as an example, I can choose a template, and what this template represents is the way this shows is this outer layer is a region, a VPC, zones, zone 1 and zone 2. Currently we're just kind of highlighting it as dummy zones, subnets, and within subnets you have some instances sitting, and then these are the network functions like load balancer, you have ACLs, you have security groups, and you can go ahead and, for example, look at the specific details of these different functions as well. Like I can look at this load balancer and look at its details, listeners, target, etc. So this is a construct that's already created. You can go ahead and choose, for example, the region you want to create this construct in. You can go next, create your addressing, recommended, or just create custom, or the ones that we have already preloaded. Once you are there, you can just go ahead and edit your infrastructure elements, add, remove, delete things, and then go ahead and continue. Okay, so this is basically the template thing. Currently we have loaded them for as I mentioned, for AWS. There are also some instance profiles that you can save, and they're also provided as well. We also have templates for Google Cloud Platform and IBM Cloud as well. Similarly, in the manage section, this is where we have already discovered all of your infrastructure. You can go ahead, for example, click on any specific region and look at your infrastructure elements. I can look at, for example, Google Cloud, look at the specific region that basically where the VPCs are created. I can also go ahead and visualize these templates as well. I can just click on the graphic and it will show me the different visualization of these templates as I was showing, right? So these are just some test templates, but these are live visualization, similarly to what I just explained. In the migrate infrastructure tab, this is cloud to cloud migration. Like, for example, if I want to go from AWS to GCP, here I can choose my source and my targets, and these will automatically discover the source VPCs, and then you can click on basically migrating all of these resources, including EKS clusters or whatever resources that you have that are basically listed here. Third, this is the transit gateway. So in case you have transit gateways, I'm just choosing IBM Cloud. because we have transit gateways. You can interconnect your VPCs and visualize them. Fourth, this is our DRAS. So we have a separate video on this, but this is just a quick overview where you can take backups of your VPCs, of your EKS, GKE, IKS clusters. In the case of IBM, you can discover your on-prem OpenShift clusters and back it up to IBM Cloud and restore it back on your on-prem or edge or on the cloud itself. So there, and we are continuing to basically add this and enhance this functionality. This is for part of our migration as a service, which is our managed service feature, where from on-prem, if you are migrating VMware environment, Oracle, databases, some Linux and Windows machines, so on and so forth, we have fully managed white glove service along with our product to basically make these migrations happen. This is our compliance policy. This we have it available for AWS. For GCP, it will be coming soon, where I can have pre-built policies for tagging and for other purposes that can be basically applied to any accounts, and then you will basically have compliance logs and also alerts for these policy violations. And this is a tab for our technical support. So this is just a quick overview, and there will be further videos on the specific functions that will be available on our channel and website as well. Thank you.
So there you have it, a demo slam. We hope you found this unique virtual showcase of industry solutions beneficial. We tried to compress a lot of information into a small amount of time. That's what the Insight Jam is all about. We appreciate you sticking around till the end. Thanks for watching.